Hello students. So today we are going to start our class 10th geographies and the chapter number 1 of the geography is resources and development. So in this chapter we are going to understand how important these resources are for us and how the development of these resources can lead to the development of human society. So let's begin. So, first thing first, what is resource? We have already covered this definition of resource in our lower classes as well, and this chapter has also been covered there. Here, resources that has been given to you, everything that is available in our surrounding, which can be used to satisfy the needs of human beings, is considered resource. So everything available in our environment which can satisfy the needs of the human beings is considered a resource. But what condition they have put? These resources should be technologically accessible, economically feasible, and culturally acceptable. All three lines are important. Technologically accessible, you can easily understand. It means that we should have the technology to use our resources. Like coal is lying or crude oil is lying inside the earth, but if we have the technology of drilling and then we have the technology of refineries to convert the crude oil into convertible form, only then we can use them. So this is first thing. Technologically it resources should be accessible. Second one, economically they should be feasible. Feasible मतलब affordable. आप resources तभी use करेंगे when you can afford them. If any resource is beyond your economic reach, वो इतना महंगा है कि आप उसे purchase नहीं कर सकते हैं, तो then that cannot be considered a resource for you. And third one is culturally acceptable. मतलब the availability of resources in our surrounding should also be gain acceptance from our culture. Our culture should also allow us to use such kind of resources. Only then we can use them. So these three important points which are related to resources, they are also important. So next is this triangle you can see, and what this triangle has been given to make you understand the interdependent relationship between these resources available in our surrounding and the human beings. So human beings, with the help of technology and the institutions they create, they can utilize all these resources. So this is the triangle which is making you understand the interconnection of these resources and how the human beings can use them in a proper manner. Next one, this table has been given to you in your book, which is explaining to you how resources can be furtherly declassified in various forms: natural and human resource, then renewable, non-renewable, and the further you can go to understand the further classification or further division of these resources. Mainly in your book, there are four important classification of these resources. Number one, on the basis of their origin, on the basis of their exhaustibility. Number two, number three, on the basis of the ownership, and the fourth one is the on the basis of their status of development. So first we are going to cover the first type, on the basis of the origin. On the basis of the origin, we can classify or divide our resources in two categories: biotic resources and abiotic resources. So biotic resources are those which are derived from the living things like plants or animals, and the non-biotic resources are those resources which are derived from non-living things. So this is the first type of resources. Then we move to the second one, which is very easy to understand, on the basis of exhaustibility. So on the basis of exhaustibility, they are divided into renewable and non-renewable resources. So renewable resources, we easily understand, are those which can be renewed in a fixed period of time, whereas the non-renewable resources will be those which cannot be renewed in a short period of time. It will take millions of years. Then generally the renewable resources do not cause any kind of environmental problem or environmental pollution, whereas the non-renewable creates the environmental pollution. Renewable are generally considered free gift of nature, whereas the non-renewable are not considered the free gift of the nature. And then the last one, you have to give the example like solar energy, wind energy are the examples of renewable resources, whereas fossil fuels, minerals, these are considered the non-renewable resources. So now the next classification of resources on the basis of ownership, and on the basis of ownership we can classify our resources in four categories: individual resources, community owned resources, national resources, and the last one is the international resources. So first one, the individual resources. As you can understand, all those resources which are controlled by an individual has the right over the resources, then it is individual resources. Like you have your plot, your houses, your land, that is individual resource. The different equipments in your house, they are all are considered the individual resources. Then the second category is the community owned resources or community resources. Naturally, all the resources which are accessible to the entire community, that will be considered as community resources. For example, you can see the bus stands, they are open for everyone. So bus stands or railway stations, then the parks where children play, we people go for walk, or the village ponds. These are the examples of individual community resources. Next one is the national resources. You have to keep in your mind, everything available within the boundary of a nation will be considered the national resource. And at the any point of time, the individual resources can be converted into the national resource for the benefit of everyone. It means कि अगर आपके पास कोई लैंड है और गवर्नमेंट को वो लैंड चाहिए क्योंकि उसमें से उसने मेट्रो ट्रेन का रूट निकालना है या कोई हाईवे पास होना है, तो देन द गवर्नमेंट कैन टेक इट, बट विद अ प्रॉपर कंपनसेशन गिवन टू द पर्सन. So this is your national resource, and the next is the international resources. So international resources are those resources which are not owned by, controlled by any individual nation, but they are managed by the international institutions like United Nations. So the ocean resources has been given to you as an example. So the ocean resources which are beyond the 200 nautical miles of exclusive economic zones, that belong to the international resources. अब what is exclusive economic zone? Every country has its coastal line, और जितना भी एरिया, समुंदर का एरिया, सागर का एरिया, सी या ओशन बॉर्डर जो उस कंट्री के कोस्टल लाइन के साथ अटैच होता है, कितना एरिया? 200 नॉटिकल माइल्स का, विच इज अराउंड 370 किलोमीटर्स. तो वो उस देश का है. दैट विल बी द एक्सक्लूसिव इकोनॉमिक जोन ऑफ दैट कंट्री. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, दिस मैप इज शोइंग यू द एक्सक्लूसिव इकोनॉमिक जोन ऑफ India in the world map, and here this map particularly explaining to you the extension of exclusive economic zone for India. You can even clearly see that the area which are Andaman and Nicobar island groups, as well as the Lakshadweep island groups, and the surrounding area of the Indian Ocean, Bay of Bengal, and third one is the your Arabian Sea, that will become the exclusive economic zone for India. So whatever will be found in this particular area, marine resources, the natural gas, etc., the fishery system, they will all come under the resources of India's resources, because it is the exclusive economic zone of India. So the next classification of resources is on the basis of status of development, and again we have four parts: potential resources, developed resources, stocks, and the fourth one is the reserve resources. So first one is the potential resources. So what are the potential resources? All the resources which are available in our environment, but we have not used them up to their full potential, then they will be considered the potential resources. There can be any reason because of which we are not able to use them. Example has been given to us of wind energy and solar energy, which has bright scope in the states like Rajasthan and Gujarat, but right now we are not able to use them to their full potential, so they will be considered the potential resources. The next resource is the developed resources. So developed resources are those resources which we know their quality estimation, their quantity estimation has been done, and we have the current technology which can easily utilize them to their full extent. So they have already been developed by us and we are using them and have the proper planning ki how much time we can use them in our future. So these are developed resources. Third one is the stocks. So stocks are the resources available in our nature which can fulfill our needs, but right now we do not have proper technology to use them. And the example given in your book is the water, which is a combination of two inflammable gases, hydrogen and oxygen. If we are able to release these two gases from water, then we can convert this chemical energy into the energy which can run our vehicles. And the government of India or the various governments are trying their best to use the clean green energy which can be run on the basis of hydrogen. So hydrogen based engine are being developed in different parts, and even India has taken initiative in this direction by declaring the National Hydrogen Energy Mission, just like the lithium ion batteries. Similarly, the batteries are being to be developed with the passage of time, and in future we will see our vehicles are running on the basis of the hydroelectricity. So this is the example, and the last one is the reserve resources, and we can easily understand the resources which are lying with us and we have the technology to use them, but right now we have kept them safe for our future generation. And we have the examples like the forest resources. We are using some part of it and some part is kept for our future generations. Similarly with the rivers through which we can produce the hydroelectricity. So with this, reserve resources is complete, and this is also the end of your video number 1 of your chapter resources and development. I hope you understood each and everything. Thanks for watching the video.